Number 13, we are going to find the maximum revenue. If we need to find the revenue, very important, do we remember how to find the revenue function? The revenue function is going to be price times X units, right? So don't forget this formula is not going to be given to you. They assume you can do it. You use the price times X units. This one, a company manufactures and sells X digital camera per week. The weekly price demand function is this. So they give you the price functions. Found the revenue function. So found the revenue function, we just need to follow what you just told me, right? So number 13 out of X equal to P times X, right? So P, they give us a 600 minus 0.3x, the whole function, times another x, right? So revenue function is going to be
600x minus 0.3x.
X squared. Is everybody okay with this? A lot of time I put it in because I want to give you the point, but if you don't know how to find revenue function, that's going to be bad. Because they assume you just come from 1324 and they do that all semester, like revenue function, profit function, cost function. So make sure you know how to find revenue function. B part, how many cameras should be produced to maximize the weekly revenue? This is from the same kind of question you have seen last exam when we need to find the maximum part. And I pretty much know this is a negative x squared, so I know it's going to be a curve like that, so it's going to be in the critical number, I'm pretty sure. So I need to take the first derivative. R prime of x, if we take the derivative of that, what do we get?
600 minus 0.3x.
Be careful, 0.3 times 2x. Okay, so R prime of x should be 600 minus these two multiplied together give me 0.6x. Once you get the derivative, because I want to know if it's increasing, decreasing, and get the point, then I am going to need to set it equal to 0. 600 minus 0.6x equal to 0. I can move x to the other side. 600 equal to 0.6x. If I divide both sides with 0.6, what do I get? X will be 1,000 units. This would be the critical number, and because the graph look like that, I'm pretty sure that's my maximum. So this will be 1,000 units for X. And they also ask you for the maximum revenue. So if we plug the 1,000 unit back to the revenue functions, which is R of X equal to 600 times X minus 0.3 X squared, right? That's my revenue function. Plug in 1,000. What do I get? It's going to be a pretty big number. 600,000 subtracting, I think that is 300,000. The maximum revenue is going to be 600 subtract 300 is 300,000. You could plug it to the table to make sure if this is x1000 and you try R prime of 1 here on this side and R prime of 1001, you should get a positive number here and a negative number here because the graph is going to go like this, which we know because it's a negative x squared function, right? This would be your how many units you should produce, and then that would be your maximum revenue. Should produce 1,000 units per week for 300,000 maximum revenue. Okay. They also ask you about what should they price it. So if we want to find the price, how do I do that? Use the, what did they give you about price? P equal to 600 minus 0.3x, and the x should equal to x, 1,000 units. So the 300,000 is your revenue, okay? Use the price equal to 600 minus 0.31,000 is going to give me what? $300 per unit or camera, I think they're doing. That would be the price, okay? So if you accidentally plug in the other number, it's probably too big. It will not make sense, hopefully. So that's from the last section that we did on the last exam. We did part 2 for this one. Okay, I want you to look at your handout because there's a graph for the next one. So number 14 asks you to find the area, but they provide you with the graph, right? So the graph say for the capital A part, the area is 8 units square. For the B part, which is underneath there, is 12. For the C is 18. For the D is 4, right? When we cover this, we say the top part, like the one above the x-axis, would be positive. The one below the x-axis would be negative. So A want to go from A is here, right, to C here. So I need to find the area between A and C for this function. We can think about this as combining from A to B functions dx, adding from B to C, right? B to C, the functions dx. I don't have A to C, so I just break it to A to B to B to C, right? And from A to B, this is the capital B part. This is below the x-axis, so is that going to be positive or negative? Negative what? The B part is negative 12 here, right? So we pick up the number they give us. And from B to C is above here, positive or negative? Positive. C is what? 18. So combine the two, we're going to get 6 units square because it's area, right? Are we okay with this? Remember, we also say if it's from A to A, the area will be 0, right? The last one is from B to D. So from B to D, we can do from B to what first? B to C function dx, adding from C to D, the function dx. From B to C, positive or negative? Positive because it's above, right? Positive what? 18. And the last part is D, C to D. So here, positive or negative? Negative because it's below here, right? And C to D for the capital D is negative 4, right? So 18 adding a negative 4 is going to give me 14 units square. Are we okay with this? So I want you to get those points. So it will be on the test. Question for this before we move on. So this is above is positive, below is negative. Let's move on to number 15. Show all the stuff, the marginal cost function. So when they say marginal, means this already has been taken with the derivative. A certain type of speaker system, so by Ace Electronic, is given by this function. C of x measured in dollars per unit, and x is the number of units produced. The daily fixed cost is $200. So they want to find the cost function. If you have the marginal cost and need to find the cost function, what do you need to do? Take the not derivative, the anti-derivatives. Number 15a, need to get the cost functions. We started with the c pi of x. We want c of x, so we will take the integral of c pi of x dx. This will be integral of 0.018 x squared plus 0.04 x minus 2. The whole thing need to be dx. Do I need to do any substitution for this? No. This is one term, one term, one term. There's no big function raised to a power, right? So when I take integral, the first one will have the number hang outside. And then I need to take care of the x squared. X squared will turn into what? 1 over? 2 plus 1, can I put 3? Okay, 3, and then x raised to 3 also. And then the second term will be the number hang there, 0.04. And then this will multiply by 2, okay, x raised to 2, and the number will become 2x. Do I need a c for this? I don't.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, when do I need it? When do I don't need it? You don't need it when you have, yeah, when will the c cancel out? Indefinite, meaning you're plugging in two numbers, then it will cancel because it's subtracting, right? But this one, does it plug in any number? No. So the c need to be there, okay? The c is important for this one. Okay, so the cost functions equal to, this is 0.018 on top, 3 at the bottom, x cubed, right? Plus this is 0.04 over 2x squared, right? Plus a 2x plus a c. I'm going to write you a note. You need c when it's indefinite integral, meaning no upper, no lower limit. If you don't have lower and upper limits, you need c. I need to simplify those numbers. The first number is going to be what? C of x, 0.018 divided by 3 is 0.006 x cubed. The second number, 0.02 x squared plus 2x plus c. We almost have the cost function, except I need to find c. What is c? Did I tell you? The daily fixed cost is 200. So this is your c equal to 200 here, okay? Because cost function is like variable cost plus fixed cost, right? So the last part would be the c, which is $200 a day. Yeah, daily. So they were given it to you, okay? The c was given to you. Some of the question you have to solve for c, but this one you do not. The final answer would be c of x equals to 0.006 x cubed plus 0.02 x squared plus 2 plus a 200. That's your cost function. Are we okay with this? So that's your cost function. That's A. B asks you the total cost for the first 50 speaker. Total cost, first 50 speaker. How do I find that? You have your cost function. I want to know 50 speaker. How much does it cost? I need to do what? Plug in x equal to 50, right? Using that function. So c of 50 will equal to 0.006 50 to the cube plus 0.02 50 to the square plus 2x, so 2 times 50 plus 200. So 50, 50, 50. Okay, you can plug that into the calculator. The first number should be 750, second number should be 50, and then minus 100 plus 200. Put that into the calculator. Hopefully you will get the total cost is $900. Is the total cost for the first 50 speakers. Are we okay? So they give you the marginal cost functions. To find the cost function, take the integral. Make sure you find your C. If they want the total cost for certain units, just plug that number as your question for this. The next one is a profit of a production.
Number 16, product and production. The weekly marginal profit for an output of X units is given approximately by this marginal profit function.
Between 0 to 100 units, what is the total change in profits for a change in production from 10 to 20 units? Set up a definite integral. So they want you to set up a definite integral, and it's looking like your lower limit is what? 10, upper limit is 20. So we're going to use that and find the profit functions. So number 16, they give you a marginal profit and they ask you to set up a definite integral. The lower limit would be 10, the upper limit would be 20. The function was 110 minus x over 4 and then dx. Just need to take individual term of integral. This means 10 to the 20, this is 110 minus 14 times x dx. You have 110x minus 14, you are only taking the integral of x. So this will be what? It has a 1 or 3 exponent, so 1 over 1 plus 1 is 2, x also weighs to 2. And then you're supposed to add c, but this is definite, so we don't need c, 20 and 10. Clean that up quickly, we got 1/10 x minus these two fractions multiplied together will give me what? 1/8 x squared, this is 20 and 10. Plug in the upper limits, subtract the lower limits. We are going to have 110 times 20 minus 1/8 times 20 squared. This whole thing subtracting the lower part. 110 times 10 minus 1/8 times 10 to the square. So we didn't plug in c because c is going to get cancelled. So using that, if we plug into the calculator, the first number would be 2200 minus this is a 50. And then over here, we distribute the negative in there, will give me minus 1100 plus a 12.5. So the answer should be 1062.5. So this represents the total change in the profits from 10 units to 20 units per week. Okay, it's a pretty straightforward question because they give you the marginal profits. You need to find the profit functions. They told you this is going to be a definite integral. They provide you with the lower limits and the upper limits. So you need to know how to take integral. You need to know how to plug in the upper limits, subtract the lower limits. Okay, we have two more. This is a very specific topic we have talked about the last class for number 17. What formula do I need to use for the average one? Number 17 say the credit unions in Texas grown remarkably in recent years. The membership grow at a rate of this. So this is the function they give you between 0 to 10 million members per year between year 2009, consider as year 0 to 2019, consider as year 10. Found the average growth rate of the membership in Texas credit unions over the periods in question. Show all the stuff. This question is asking you to find the average value. So the average value formula we have talked about last time. We're going to need to use that formula. This formula will be provided to you on the test. You just need to recognize that's what they're asking when they talk about average growth. Okay? The average growth, you're going to need to use the average value formula, which is 1 over the upper limits subtracting the lower limits, taking integral from the lower limit to the upper limits, the function d of x. You just need to recognize when they talk about the average growth, mean they want the average value over the year. What is my upper limits and lower limits? Can you tell? 10 need to subtract 0, and the integral from 0 to 10, the function is given to you as negative 0.6 t squared plus 8t minus a 3. This time they're doing t, so it's dt. So that's my functions. The fraction is just 1/10, right? And then I think we can go ahead and take the integral. The first number would be negative 0.6. You need to take care of the t squared. T squared will turn into what? 1/3 t to the third power. Thank you. The second number would be plus 8, and we need to take care of the t. T will be 1 over 2, 1/2 t to the 2, and the number we'll just need to add a x, but this one is a t, okay? And then we're going to need to plug in the lower and the upper limit, right? So we're going to try that, but let's clean that up. negative 0.6 times 1/3 is going to give me what? Negative, so like, be careful, don't lose the negative, okay? Negative 0.2 t to the third power plus 8 divided by 2 is 4t squared minus of 3t, and plug in the upper and lower limits. I'm really happy with this because this is 0. It's going to don't have to plug in anything basically. Negative 0.2 times 10 to the third power plus 4 times 10 to the second minus 3 times 10. And then I need to plug in 0, right? But 0 will make this term 0, make this term 0, make this term 0. So it's just subtracting 0, right? Alright, so multiply this together, it will get me 110. The first number would be a negative 200. And then adding a 400 minus 30, this thing will subtract a
0.
So we need to combine these three numbers together. Inside will give me 110 times 170. Which is just 17. But be careful, this one represents millions of members per year. So million of members per year is the average growth between the year 2009 to 2019, those 10 years. So this is from the question. They say the number represents millions of members. This is per year. And the time they're doing the upper and lower limits was 2000 to 2019. Okay. We have one more question. The very last topic we talked about last time was the consumer surplus and producer's surplus. Straightforward one I could find from the book. Number 18, found the consumer surplus. So if you see that, you will use the formula from consumer surplus, okay? If the demand function is this, so this is a demand function for the price, 300 minus 0.03x. P is the unit price in dollars, and X is the quantity demand each week. The price is set at $150. So they even give you the price, so that's good. They want to find the consumer surplus, so the consumer surplus had a certain formula. Number 18, the consumer surplus equal to 0 to x. X is the number of units. They use the demand functions, subtracting the price, and then dx. So this is the function, the formula we're going to use. Very important, and this is the part that most students get stuck is they need to solve for x, how many units first, because you don't have enough information from the question. In order to solve for x, we can use the price function that's given to us. The price is 300 minus 0.03x, and they say price equal to what? From your question, price is 150. So we're going to plug in here, right? So 150 equal to 300 minus 0.03x. Move the 300 to the other side. By subtracting, you get negative 150 equal to negative 0.03x. And then what? Divide both sides by negative 0.03. Negative 0.03, x is going to be 5,000 units. Once we have that, we can plug it to the consumer surplus formula, okay? So the consumer surplus formula is from integral 0 to that x number, which is 5,000 we just found. And then the d function was given from the question, right? That was 300 minus 0.03x. We need to subtract the price. The price is what? 150. The whole thing need to be do dx. We can combine like term first. This is between 0 to 5,000. Inside we have the 300 minus 150 would be 150 minus 0.03x dx. We're going to take integral with that. 150 will become what? 150x minus the 0.03. Now you need to just x. Just x will be 2x to the 2. So they're kind of repeating a lot, so hopefully after a while you catch on. This will need to plug in the upper limit is 5,000, lower limit is 0, right? 150x minus, this is going to be 0.03 over 2x squared. Need to plug in those numbers. The good thing is the lower limit is 0 and both of them have x, so it means I don't have to plug in the 0 parts. 150 times 5,000 minus 0.03 over 2, 5,000 squared. This whole thing supposed to subtract plug in with 0, right? Which is also turning 0. If you put it in the calculator, the final answer is going to be 375,000. This is the consumer surplus, which means the consumer who would have bought the products at a higher price saved a total of $375,000. Okay, so that's what it means.